So, this coming Saturday is Halloween, my favorite holiday of the year, and I thought we could do a couple Halloween videos this week. As you can see by the title, today we are going to be ranking every slasher movie villain based on how likely you would be to survive if you had a run-in with them. I'm going to rank them from most likely to survive to you're basically dead, and then I'm going to give each one a 1 through 10 rating, 1 being you're definitely going to survive, 10 being you have no chance at all. Before we start, I do ask please like and subscribe. It only takes a second and it really helps me out. When we hit 100 subscribers, I'm going to be doing a Marvel giveaway. Like, comment, subscribe to enter, and do all three to further your chances. I'm really excited about this video, so let's go ahead and let's hop into it. First off, at number 10, we have Leatherface. Now, I'm not a big fan of the Texas Chainsaw franchise. I don't really watch them all that much. I've just never really thought they were that good. And I'm not putting him this low based on my liking of the franchise. I genuinely don't think that he's all that menacing. In my opinion, he's kind of goofy. So I'm going to give him a 3 out of 10. Based on how likely you would be to survive. So you have pretty good chances, but the reason he's not lower is because if you do slip up or make a mistake or panic, you very well could die, but if you just keep yourself composed and don't panic, then you're probably not going to have any problem. And at number 9, I've got Pennywise, and Pennywise is a pretty menacing villain, and he feeds off of people's fears and can even shape-shift and take the form of what a specific person fears the most. I'm going to give him a 3.5 out of 10. And the reason he's not higher is because he really only targets kids. I think in the It movie from 2017, Ben tells the rest of the group that Derry has a 6 times more death rate. Their death rate 6 times higher, and that's with the adults. The kids are much worse. So unless you're a kid, I don't really think you have much to worry about with Pennywise because he mainly targets kids. If you're a kid, he's probably pretty high on the list then, maybe like 3 or 4, but other than that, if you're not a kid, you really don't have anything to worry about. At number 8, we have Lupin the Leprechaun. The Leprechaun movies are kind of goofy too, but I feel like he's more menacing of a killer than Leatherface is. I don't really care for those movies either. I watch them if they're on TV, but it's not something that I'm like, okay, when I get home, I'm gonna sit down, put on the Leprechaun movies, and binge watch 2 or 3 of them. I just don't really like them like that. I'm gonna give him a 4 out of 10 because the kills that are in the franchise are kind of creative. Like I can specifically remember one where he's on the pogo stick bouncing on the guy's chest. So the kills are creative. It's kind of a comical movie. So he comes in at number 8 on the list. Number 7 is Chucky from the Child's Play franchise. I was never a big fan of Child's Play up until a couple years ago. And once I kind of started really appreciating what they were going for instead of looking at it from a broad aspect of filmmaking, I actually enjoy them quite a bit. They provide comical relief throughout the entire movie, and it's just kind of funny and fun to sit down and watch a doll kill people. I'm going to give Chucky a 5.5 out of 10. Kind of in the middle. You don't have a high chance of being killed by him, but you also aren't safe, so you really need to take precautions. You really need to be careful and try to defend yourself as best you can in order to stay safe from Chucky. Next up at number 6 is one of my favorite franchises, and that is Ghostface from the Scream franchise. Now, I love all of the Scream movies. They are my second favorite horror slasher franchise, and I won't tell you what my first is because that killer's coming up later on the list. But I think the Scream movies are so creative, and I think Wes Craven did a really good job, especially with the first one, because as the audience, you don't know who the killer really is. You just know him as Ghostface until that killer is revealed. So I think that he does a really good job with that. And the reason that I'm putting Ghostface as high as I am is because it could be anybody. It could be your friends. We've seen from the movies that people that are trusted turn out to be the killer. So I'm going to give Ghostface a 6 out of 10. And I like the movies. I like Ghostface as a killer. And that's going to come in at the number 6 spot. Number 5 is Freddy. Now, I like the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and I like Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and New Nightmare. So, the other ones are kind of weak, but Wes Craven, once again, delivering a very good movie and a pretty solid franchise. The concept of having people be in danger when they're asleep is really creative, and it's something that I really like because you literally cannot live without sleep. I'm going to give Freddy a 7 out of 10 simply because you can't not sleep. You have to sleep at some point. You can only stay awake for so long. And it gets to the point in the movies where they don't know if they're dreaming or if they're in reality. And Freddy's just kind of always there in the dreams. It's kind of like he's got superpowers. So he comes in at number 5 on our list. At number 4, we have Hannibal Lecter. Silence of the Lambs is one of my favorite horror movies. I'm going to do a top 10 horror movie, my opinion, my top 10 favorite horror movies later in the week, probably Thursday. But Hannibal is very, very menacing because he is such a sly and cunning killer. I'm going to give him a 7.5. I think that he can just manipulate you and make you think that you're safe, but in reality, he's always the one that's in control. And it also makes him a lot scarier that he's a cannibal, because I just think that is extremely disturbing. So that's why he is put as high as he is. At number 3, we have everybody's favorite torture porn killer, Jigsaw. Now, Kramer is a very interesting character because of his backstory and because of his reasoning behind the saw traps and his killings. Now, if you run in with Jigsaw, you are highly, highly likely to die. And it's not going to be a pleasant way. I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10. On the scale of how likely you would be to survive, you're basically dead. There's a small chance that, based on how smart you are, you could find a way to escape. But if you just sit back and look at all that he's done in the Saw franchise, he's an extremely menacing character, and you just have to face the facts that you are likely going to die if you have a run-in with Jigsaw. Bringing us into the number 2 spot is Michael Myers. Now, I love the Halloween franchise. I think the original movie is one of the masterpieces of 70s and 80s horror. I think it really paved the way for slasher movies, and I watch Halloween every year. I watch the first, the second, and then the 4th and 5th. I kind of think from 6 and on they get kind of goofy, but the remake last year I thought was extremely good. So I like Halloween, and Michael Myers is a menacing killer. He's very strong. Obviously, it's incredibly hard to kill him, and even if you are successful in killing him, he never seems to really die. So I'm going to give him a 9.5. If you run in with Michael Myers, you might as well just say, oh well, because you're probably going to die. But coming in at the number 1 spot, the most menacing slasher movie villain of all time, and somebody that you have a 100% chance you're dead, is Jason Voorhees. Friday the 13th, I said earlier that Scream was my second favorite franchise. Friday the 13th is my favorite. I find myself watching the Friday the 13th movies more than any other of the slasher movies. Jason is my favorite of the killers, and I also think he's the strongest and most menacing. I'm pretty sure, I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure that of all of the slasher movie villains, I think he has the highest kill count. I think it's either close to 200 or it's right over 200, I'm not sure. But while some of the movies are goofy, like Jason X and Part 5, A New Beginning, I can always find some joy in these movies, and I can always sit down and watch them and have a good time. And he goes on a rampage every movie, so there's really no escaping Jason, and that's why he comes in at number 1 on my list. So that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment if you want to be entered into the giveaway. As soon as I hit 100 subscribers, I will be giving away the Marvel gift basket. Thanks for spending time with me today here at the Nerd Family. Keep watching movies, keep watching TV, and keep being a horror fan.